Warm greetings. Welcome to today's session of Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water. This session is conducted with the support of Water Resource Council of the Women's Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry and in collaboration with W4W Foundation and media partner Counterview. My name is Mansi Bal Bhargav and I represent right now the National President of the Wiki Water Resource Council. And we are glad to start the conversation, namely Monday Munching and Musing with Women for Water, which we co-equally refer as Blue Lips. The conversation is aimed to share the worries and the wisdom by the woman, for the woman, of the woman in the water sector. In here, we hope to learn about the water endeavors of the woman in a regular disciplined manner like a master class. As you see, we are inching towards 50 sessions, so we have already heard near 50 women and we are extremely blessed about learning their life journeys. So in this session today, we are very keen to listen and know more about Dr. Girija Bharat. Dr. Girija Bharat is the founder director of Mugama Consultants Private Limited, which is located at Gurgaon. She is an international expert with 30 years of experience in water quality and conducts research and capacity building activities pan India on water resource management, water supply and sanitation, chemical pollution control, and environmental management. She started her career as a scientist in the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, which is a very well-known organization of the Government of India, and was a presidential scholar at George Mason University, USA. She has worked at many institutions, including TERI, USAID, World Bank, and more. She has over 90 national and international publications, including Global Sustainable Development Report, 2015 and 16. She's currently also working on the national policy of India on safe reuse of wastewater, and I suppose that is also ready. And she's recipient of many, many awards, including Global Environmental Award, Aqua Excellence Award, Exceptional Woman of Excellence, and so on and so forth. So welcome, Girija, and I'm extremely delighted and blessed to have you also as a friend and also member of the council, as well as now our speaker today. So your opening remarks with how you started your journey in the water sector. Please unmute yourself.
Thanks, Mansi, for the kind introduction. I'm glad to be here with you in this forum. My journey with water started as a child, as I was very interested and inclined towards resource efficiency, resource conservation, and it was ingrained in me as a child by my parents and among all of our siblings that reuse, reduce, recycle, rejuvenate, that concept. But I never thought that I will take up a career like this in water. So it was all about environment. But when I was doing my PhD was on wastewater treatment using nanotechnology, using granular activated carbon. That's what we use in reverse osmosis. So that was a turning point, and thereon I continued working in the water sector. I worked, as you mentioned, in CSIR and George Mason University and TERI, all in the water sector. So that was the defining moment for me to be in the water sector.
Interesting. And you are flowing like water, not unstoppable. Sorry, we don't hear you.
I'm here. Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I hear. Yeah. Now I hear. So I'm saying you're flowing like water since then, since your childhood, and unstoppable, more like an Aviral Nirmal Ganga or Aviral Nirmal, I must say, Girija in this case.
Thanks, Mansi. Yeah.
I'm also following your work over these years since I have come to know about your work. And now that we are going to work together in Ganga as well as looking at pollution, I'm really looking forward to learning from you. So my next question to you is like, over these years, what kind of tasks and activities which you have done as a woman? Because you see, this conversation is more about Girija being a woman in the water sector, more than the work in the water sector. So I'm keen to understand the kind of work which you find it difficult as a woman to do, or you find it very rewarding as a woman to do, both kinds of work. Can you please highlight some of them as examples?
Well, I was raised in a very gender neutral family. And I studied also in organizations and worked in places which were gender neutral. So that aspect of gender actually didn't occur to me Means the new, it was
Okay.
a new dimension when I thought about it. And when I saw other people sitting and discussing that about gender
Gender.
issues, that was quite eye-opening. Otherwise, I never thought that I was discriminated. Sometimes I even felt, because studying in IIT and studying in engineering colleges and science discipline, it was like more male dominated. In fact, it
Yeah.
was most male dominated.
Mostly
Like,
IITs.
yeah, like in IIT, we were 600 out of 600, there were 9 girls at that time, and rest of them were boys. So, and in our locality also, when we were growing up as children, it was all boys. So I would be very comfortable playing the boy games like Gulli Danda and all others rather than the girl games.
I
So,
didn't feel the difference
no,
between being woman and or
no.
man or girl or boy.
I didn't. But later, when I saw that gender discrimination did exist and would see that people were discriminated for being girls and others, so that's when I got to understand, my goodness, this is a huge area which
Yes,
really
and
needs.
maybe you are not affected, but it is a serious area.
Yes, yes. Neither in pay parity or anything I was affected as a in the gender aspect. But then later I felt it was something which was existing for sure, and then was a big issue. Then
Yes.
I thought there are people who are there who are not able to raise their voice against the gender discrimination, and I would probably be able to help them out. And I was
Absolutely.
so happy that I was able to help across different levels, be it the people who are from very affluent families, because
Yes.
we feel in affluent families and high income group, gender disparity doesn't exist. But no, gender
Exist.
disparity does exist, but it is under the cover. And
Everywhere.
everywhere, yeah. And people who are of the low socioeconomic levels, it is very open, and that it does exist in a very uh,
Dark manner.
very pronounced way. Yeah. So, yeah, so I have, since then I have been really working hard to help out, to reach out to people who are not able to raise their voice or bring this out. And they are also conditioned in such a way they think that this is just the normal. This is normal, and we as people who are on the other side have to tell them, no, this is not normal.
This is not normal.
This is not, yeah.
But because you were not facing it and you started realizing it, probably it might be quite a kind of contrast for you, the way you were raised. Although you may have realized it when you were in IIT, because you were not even 1% of the population or 1.5% of the population, of the student population, you know. But in institutions, usually in the academic circle, teachers and students are not making that gender discrimination. Consciously or unconsciously, it is just all are equal. Even I will say at workspace, it is not really made consciously, but somehow because of the social structure, it happens. You know, nobody is doing it knowingly. So I'm keen to understand, I'm just rephrasing the question which I was asking you, some tasks where you felt in your own workings approach or in your own works, where you felt that being a woman, it was challenging, or you are not getting enough support, or where at places where you actually felt that it was quite rewarding to be a woman. So I would like to know one or two examples from your life experiences.
Yeah. When I joined CSIR, that was 1989, we had a batch every year. CSIR, the new scientist recruits, were having a 6 months course, on-campus course at BITS Pilani, and 6 months training. So that one course which we had in on-campus course which we had in BITS Pilani, there were 19 boys and me alone. Yeah, so I felt I was getting preference many times. Yeah,
Yes,
and I was actually very shy about it. Yeah, I was not liking it. Yeah, I was not liking that. Yeah, because I was brought up in a very gender neutral society. So that was where I got some preference. But there were times when I felt that there were things could have been better. Because of my gender, probably I was not sent on the missions which were considered very arduous. And I really wanted to, because I was all waiting to learn unravel new path, unravel the aspects of maybe the wastewater treatment plant. And even those days, girls were, since I studied in IIT Dhanbad, so we had visits to the mine water aspects, etc. But girls were not allowed to go there, yeah, because girls, it was closed for girls. So those are aspects which I really didn't like and I didn't understand yet. But then I was told that it's a rule that girls cannot. But now, thankfully, it is now open to the girls. Yes.
Interesting. So certain changes come over time, and when
Yes.
people like you actually join these kind of initiatives,
Yes.
and also we are seeing overall the thing, I mean, scenario is changing. It may be slow, but it is changing for sure.
Oh, sure.
If,
Sure.
yeah, if we see our career when we started, from then to now, we are already seeing a change. And I think people like you have made remarkable contribution to bring that change. Maybe not just voicing about it, but even your presence has brought the change.
Yes.
You know, so it's
Yes.
it's a huge contribution, I feel, when I'm doing this research on this kind of activities or work, I will say, women in water. So
Yeah.
not everybody has to go and scream that here is a woman and she is from water sector, but the very presence itself matters.
Yes. Yes.
So just to understand, because you have been over decades in the sector, and you are working wonderfully professionally as well. You may choose to answer my next question, or you may just give it a pass, but I'm very keen to understand how Girja's typical day looks like, because whenever I'm talking to Girja is on the roll, and she's super busy. But it is important for every girl, or especially the younger scholars whom we are really trying to aim for through these conversations, that they understand what it is to be in a very public life, or what it is to be a very highly acclaimed professional. So what does Girja's everyday look like?
Well, Mansi, I feel very shy when you're saying highly accomplished and all that. I'm still a
Sure,
learner,
I'm very proud of you. I will be very honest on that.
It is work in progress, I must say. Still,
We all are work in progress that way.
Yeah.
But
Well,
you see, but when you were, then we were young scholars, we were short of role models. But I think now younger generation should not face that problem as role models.
Yes.
So that is how I see you all. Sorry, please go ahead.
Thank you. I wake up typically at 5:30 in the morning, and 6 to 8 I have a yoga, pranayam, meditation session. Yeah. So the days when I'm not joining online, I do it myself. So 6 to 8 is my time, and I don't like anybody to disturb me, and the family gets the message that it is not to be disturbed time. Yes. And sometimes I go for a walk, sometimes I go cycling. That's how it is. And then I center myself. So basically this yoga meditation is something, and then I also sit down and center myself. And that's when I write my diary for what all things are to be done, what all have been done, would have been done better. So it's a reflection time for me.
Very nice.
I come back to that reflection time at the night also before I go to sleep, that how much, I was like, I measure myself if I was up to the mark. So I grade myself at the end of the day. And typically after I start my work around 9:30 or 9, and then it's all some publications, some research, which is going, some strategy development, etc. So the first half is more the cerebral kind of work, and the second half is more about replying to emails. So you would have, if you have not received my emails in the mornings, please don't be discouraged. I would definitely get back to you in the afternoon. So that's the time when, the mails and all, they distract you from the core things. Our bread and butter is our research. So I attend to it in the first half, and the second half is all about emails. And since I'm running my own organization, so I have to look at the admin to some extent, and to some extent the account stuffs, etc. Yeah. And
interesting. I have to learn from you to reverse my chart, because I have a absolutely reverse chart than you. And now I understand that if I have to really focus, I should just keep the emails and public activity in the second half and not do it in the first half. So I'm doing it in the first half. So you see, we all design the way it suits us, so that's interesting. But you are apart from doing your professional work, you also have to take care of where you live, where you have your family members and all. How do you try to balance all of them? And are there expectations from the family which really sometimes probably make you reflect harder that where should you really find a balance, or which is more priority, and how do you do that? Extended family or whoever you love, you know?
Yeah. You know, we are not just individuals. We are having our own core family. We have our extended family. So there are so many responsibilities. I don't take it as a responsibility or a duty. I do it in the stride, so that it doesn't become too overbearing. Sometimes if there are disturbing situations and there are some work which is like very urgent that I cannot compromise, so I ring fence myself. So that ring fencing is very important. I know that this is something which has happened, which is not good, and it can wait probably. Then I attend to my core stuffs. And ring fence myself, finish that, and then attend to the other stuffs. But having said that, I know I am there for everybody. I tell my children, I tell my husband, my mother that I'm a call away. And I'm actually a call away. Yeah, if there is an emergency, I'm there. I will take probably the next flight and be there where it requires me to. So I'm quite flexible and adaptable, and going on.
Yeah,
Thankfully,
good.
everybody around me is very understanding. Be it
Yes,
my husband, be it my children, or be it my mother or my siblings and all. Yeah.
But do you think, I mean, I'm just asking a side question, and that will also close our first section of the conversation. Do you think being an independent consultant actually provides you more, power to really take calls on how to prioritize your personal and professional life on a daily basis? Because there are certain days when this part requires more attention and other days, other part. Because the more I talk to people who are on a regular, employed basis, they really struggle with this kind of arrange or balancing act. So what is your take on being independent woman, or, or how do you?
A slight correction, if I may, Mansi. I'm not an independent consultant, but independent consultancy group.
Yes.
My own independent
but you have your own,
yes.
decision making, and you are leading.
Right. Yes,
Yeah.
New Gamma Consultants. So we are a group of consultants who are, we have a very good number of research scientists. We have economists, we have water resource management specialists, we have waste management specialists. So it's like a very good group, very tightly knit group. It definitely gives me a lot of time and bandwidth and independence to execute the project. Not just execute, conceptualize, ideate, and then bring it on the field and then deliver it and see its impact. So it's like full value chain you are able to. And I'm not restricted, or we are colleagues, we are not restricted by time and space. Some of our colleagues are based abroad. So we are all there. And thanks to the technology, we are all connected. Yes. And thankfully for me, we are, when you are on a mission, then others also join you with the same mission.
Yes.
Yeah? So the vibrational energy of everybody matches, more or less matches. So
yeah, I can relate.
Too much of it. Yes. So it's a symphony, it's not a dissonance.
Absolutely. And I think the question which I was asking in being in this kind of consortium situation also allows you the leverage, when you want to focus on which part of it, and everybody's understanding, because everybody is going through that kind of balancing act in life. It's not about being women or men. We all have to do that act.
Yes. It gives us so much of flexibility. It's end of the day, this is the delivery. Yeah. And when time comes, if we are ourselves a bit relaxed, then we get a lot of intuitive ideas, and we know how to make the work complete rather than counting hours. It's more important to complete the work and do it well rather than counting hours. You might be, someone would be sitting in front of the computer all day and not being productive. Yes. So it's more about the work and the quality of work.
Absolutely. So that closes our first section from me, but I see Nathaniel and Rajgopal are here. So if they want to ask something about Girija as a woman, this is the time to ask, because then I will move to more institutional questions from her. Would you like to ask her any questions? So that will enrich our conversation also.
Nothing from my end, I would right now.
Okay. Thank you. Rajgopal, would you like to ask
No,
anything?
no.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
I have been interacting with Dr. Girija every day.
Okay, thank you. I thought I will just engage you in the conversation also. So let us move to the next section of the questions, Girja. And we already started discussing this about being women in the water sector. And you know that as group of women, especially in our Water Resource Council, we are trying to celebrate women leadership, and we are really trying to do some things together also. It's just a work in progress, as you mentioned about ourselves. Same is a work in progress when we are talking about as a group of women in water sector. And you also discussed about the presence of women, not only by their participation and decision making, but also we see, and researchers show that there are really very lesser number of women, first of all, in the water sector. That also reduces the chances of women getting into the higher ladder and the leadership positions. What is your take on not many women opting for water sector as a career option?
So I'll come to the first part of your question, that women not so much in leadership positions. The thing is, women are stuck by this sticky bottom and leaky pipes syndrome.
Yes, very well put in the water language.
Yes, unfortunately.
Yes.
And for me, sometimes I also reach out to women I feel who they're really having potential and they're stuck in this. So I have a one-on-one conversation with them and I ask them, do you see somebody in that situation? Then some people acknowledge that they themselves are stuck in that situation. So I tell them, this is not a desirable thing. You have a huge, big career ahead of you, a big life in front of you. So come on, fasten your seat belts, keep moving.
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes girls who are in the, getting married and then on family way, and then it's difficult for them to return back to work. We really need to nudge them. Yeah. And sometimes they're so anxious, they are not able to get back to work because they feel they are they'll be very junior to the colleagues who were there.
They lost the time. They lost
the time and all that. That's okay. Yeah. Maybe don't try to win the battle, try to win the war. There's so much more to do. That's all right. Maybe it's like a conveyor belt. Some people rise immediately, some people take some time. So that's okay. That time you well spent on rearing your children, that's well spent. Don't regret that at all. Don't take it as a conflicting situation. Go with the flow. So I tell them, go with the flow, and yet your eyes should be there on the goal, that you should not be out of the workforce. Sometimes it becomes so difficult for them to manage home and work. So in US and other countries, we have women, there are so many women-centric policies that they can work 2 days in a week from home, or they can work from home, they can take half days and all that. So women should be encouraged to take that up rather than being challenged. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And all that. So an enabling environment will be really helpful. And mentorship platforms. There are so many mentorship platforms, especially like this one, Wiki. We know that how women are multitasking, going through so much in life. And for some, it is very hard life because it's not such a pleasant experience at home or at the extended families with so much of expectation. They have to finish everything and then only they can. So they really need some nudge. They really need some love. They need some encouragement and enabling environment. In the water sector being sector where not many girls are there, because it's more, so far it is very male dominated, but the trend is changing substantially. Recently, we went to Chennai and Chennai Metro Water Supply Sewerage Board, and we were also happy to see that it was headed by a woman. The chief engineer was a woman, and I asked about the gender balance. She said it's 51-49, means 51 in favor of women, or could be even 55. So, and leadership positions, yes, of course. And the operation, the way it was operating, the smoothness with which it was operating, and the interpersonal relationship they had, the trust they had. So it was very evident that it was not all longitudes. There were latitudes connecting these longitudes. And
Absolutely.
that was really binding them all together to see that the work was done in a very efficient manner, done in a productive manner. It was very, very heartening to see that.
Interesting, because there are several studies which also show this fact, by the way, that when woman is in the leadership position, it really changes the way everything is approached. It changes the philosophy of the work. And there is more transparency as well in the work. These are all already, science is already proving these things. And we saw it in all kinds of wash projects, all kinds of sanitation projects or water, wherever women have been. And even in Corona time, we saw water and health was discussed a lot. And we saw how women leaders had really huge role to play in many of the Corona struck places. So if we talk about being a professional, I'm sure we are on the same page that being professional not necessarily means that being a leader. These are completely two different things, One has to rise the ladder of professionalism to even reach the leadership. So one can be a good professional, but not necessarily a good leader. But a good leader definitely needs to be a good professional. This is the kind of statistics I am trying to, decode while I'm doing this research and all. So there are certain people who have some inherent skills, which are genetic, you may say, which are by birth, which are by nurturing right from childhood. For example, Girija was nurtured as a gender neutral, family or environment, and that inherently gives you certain confidence to get into this kind of situation. But let's say if we see that there are certain skills which are required, whether you are inherently leadership qualities imbibing person, or whether you have nurtured it through your education or your hardship. Some people get that, fire in themselves. There are certain skills which are required, which can really define you additional than professional, as a leader. What do you think? What are those basic leadership skills which we see in a person and we realize, yes, this person has leadership skills, or this person can be a leader, or this person is leader for that matter?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Thanks, Mansi, for asking that question. Well, the definition of leadership has got quite transformed in the last few decades. Earlier the leader was somebody who was very autocratic, who would dictate and the others had to follow. From there, we have now evolved to a very participatory leadership.
Absolutely. Very well put.
And with the sustainable development goals also, if you see the whole team, the United Nations SDG team, which has made that 17 goals, most of them are like women, but it has maintained a gender balance. It's that, having said that, I don't say there are no men. There are quite a lot of men. But then the Millennium Development Goal, MDG, had a lot of men. It was the other way. Now
it was the other way around.
Now it has tilted towards the women. And it was, if you see, there's a lot of concept of sustainability. There is holisticness, there is wholesomeness in that approach. And participatory leadership is the key word now. So we are not leaders. We are not here to fix our own crown. We are here to fix each other's crown.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also stand at the back of our colleagues, not at the front of the colleagues.
Exactly. And then take everybody's views. It is, I'm not saying this as a democratic principle, but generally, if a leader has to be, it's not you don't demand being a leader, you command being a leader. So that is what I really believe in. And there are many traits in men which are very important, which has to be there. Otherwise, if it is only an all-women group, then it will not survive. It has to have that gender balance. It has to. Nature has created that way, and let it be like that. Let's not challenge it. But nature has created men and women. That doesn't mean it's only for the world is only for men and it's women are like a supporting staff. No, that also you cannot.
That is the current situation which is transforming. And I think that's where our role becomes extremely important.
Mutual respect. Yeah. I can, if I may have time, I'll just give you one small example.
Please.
Just before Corona, 2019, I and my husband went to a school where he had studied. It was a boys' school. So it had a sister school nearby. So we went to that school. Sorry, please don't ask me the name of the school. But the boys' school had deteriorated over the years, and the girls' school had become very good. Yeah. So I was very surprised, and I asked him, what is the reason for this? Then he said, we can't say that in public, but the reason could be because the boys' school had men headmasters all along, and the girls' school typically had to have a women headmistress. And while the headmasters were always busy consolidating their position and looking for promotions, becoming higher and higher, the women, the high headmistresses, were not so much bothered about their positions. They were more bothered about the institution, the school, its development, the ranking, etc. So I was really surprised. Then I said, okay, you saying this, I'll need to have, I being a researcher, I need to have data, right? So I talked to some people who were not like-minded, who were outsiders, who were in the district, who were not connected with the school, only knew about the school and all. But uniformly, I got this answer. Then I thought, oh God, this is really a very, very important aspect. Yeah. While the headmasters were busy with their positions, their progress, the headmistresses were busy with the school's progress. Yeah. So this
difference, inclusivity, huh?
Yeah, this is very typical of many institutions, but we can't generalize it actually. But then this is one trait which comes as a very very noticeable trait. Yeah.
Yeah. So we can simplify it saying that being leader is more about empowering than about power,
Yes, exactly. Very beautiful.
So that way it is. And also it's very heartening to hear that it was noticed by your, spouse, and he's noticing this difference.
Yeah.
I mean, that itself is a big change, as a family also, that we realize this difference. And you rightly mentioned it's not about being a man or woman in the leadership position, because the word leadership itself is gender neutral.
Yeah,
and there are certain skills which are required to be a good leader, where everybody looks up to you with lot of respect. They will trust you, which is important, and so certain skills are required. So if we want to make a difference in the water sector, and maybe we are a little bit selfish being women, but knowing the current proportion of men and women leaders, and we know how it is from ministry to most of the consultancies to most of the research organizations and all. So I am not embarrassed to be a little bit woman-centric person, and really focusing more on upskilling the women leaders so that they are just a few steps to the leadership. What do you think, we can do, or how do you think we can utilize our current positions in our respective organizations, in our respective affiliations, projects and everything? What do you think we can do personally, which we are already doing? But I think because this conversation is happening, it is good to really spell it out or talk about it, giving examples that these are important things. When we have reached certain stage, we should be doing it so that other women also get motivated, or they feel more confident, as you were talking about enabling environment and all. Because as I was saying earlier also, that when we were growing up, we did not have many women to look up to.
Yes.
That was quite intimidating when I started my career also. I will be very honest on that. But now I feel very confident when I look at people like you and all other women. We have like 75 women in the Water Resource Council. So what do you think additional we should be doing? And some examples, please.
In fact, Mansi, when I joined the office first time, there were no women, and there were no women's toilet either. Yeah. So that was how it was. Yeah. Yeah. So, the skills which you rightly asked, and I probably missed out answering about that. I am very highly influenced by this Sheryl Sandberg's book, Lean. Yeah. And she rightly says, sit at the table. We women have a tendency, if you see, they sit at the peripheries. Yes. If there is a discussion, they sit at the peripheries. And so when I see some girls, I call them and make them sit at the table. Yeah. Why are you there? You are not support staff. Yeah. You are here to contribute to the discussions. So first and foremost is sit at the table. Second thing I feel is financial independence and financial knowledge. The third thing is financial ownership. If we have a house, typically it's in the husband's name. If
Yes.
there is a bank account, it's typically in the husband's name, and then the wife has this added, or a father's name, and
Mini or second.
yeah, it is like a add-on. So no, sit at the table means not just on the discussion table, but sit at the table in all these things. If you see, the property in the name of women is very less.
Yes.
Very, very minuscule. Thankfully, now the property rules, laws have changed, and then women also inherit. But I come from a state where women only inherited in the past. Now they have added men. So that's how it is. So, you know, this property, bank account, knowledge, finances, these are all very important. Second thing, women themselves feel that we are optional. They are probably raised like that.
Yes.
If I work or not, that's not important. I study and become educated so that I become a showpiece. My husband can say, yeah, my wife is educated. No.
Or raise children with my education.
Yes, you have to have finance coming in your hands. It has to be in your name. It should not be in somebody else's name. So that is real empowerment. And you need to have financial knowledge, financial literacy. Many times, many of us, even I had to really struggle quite a lot in terms of many of the finances. Yeah. So we have to put ourselves there and understand the finances. If we don't understand the finances, we are not empowering ourselves. Empowering is not just giving bhashan and saying women empowerment. It's all about financial knowledge, operational knowledge, and also having a say. That doesn't mean you raise voice against everything. No, you have to be respected because of your knowledge, your finances, your capability, and your skills. Yeah.
And also commitment, I will say, to add your,
of course,
if you take up work, just do it. I think when I look at the literature, women have been exemplary mothers and taking care of the house. And somewhere I feel when it comes to the professional field, but it may be my experience, because the professional part always remains their secondary task. Of course, house has to be, or family has to be primary. There are certain times when women have to really take that backseat or compromise on their professional commitments, or they don't even take commitments in that case. And you were rightly mentioning women who are having gaps, who become, slow, and who become, they take lesser work so that they can balance good and all, and that also hampers. So,
if I may be permitted to say one more thing.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in fact, the schools, whereas small schools, small place, small schools, I've seen many of the lady teachers. I won't say all, but most, I can say easily most of them were very lackadaisical about teaching. What they would do was gather in a group, gossip and all that, while the class would be just left to the monitor, whereas most of the men teachers would be teaching the class. So that set a very wrong role model for the girls and for the school and for everybody, that a lady teacher to kaam ki nahi hai. She's not here for teaching. And this went on for years. I changed the school, there also I saw this. I changed the place, there also I saw the same thing. So this is a very sad situation where women, who कहते हैं ना, क्या पेड़ काटने का काश कुल्हाड़ी में लकड़ी का आस्ता ना होता, लकड़ी काटने का रास्ता ना होता.
Very well put.
So women cut themselves down. You have to, if you are women, it's not like raising your voice for gender equality. You have to deserve it. If you don't have commitment to work, if you don't have commitment to teaching, where teaching is such a noble job, you got it, and they're all government teachers, they get fat salaries. So you are the ones who are ruining this gender
image also, image, of being woman.
Yes.
I very well put. And I think we all may have encountered this kind of situations in the past in our schools and colleges. And this is where the co-learning between genders is extremely important, because when we talk about leadership, we really see, because in the past, most of the time, male leaders were documented, and we looked at up to them to understand the traits of good leadership and all. And definitely there is much more to learn from them as well in this aspect. So very well put. So that brings me to the third section of our questions. So I hope the questions are easy for you and you are enjoying the conversation.
Yes, I am.
Thank you. It's very easy conversation, it's just to get to know each other better. So the third section of question is actually related to the role of platforms, or role of associations. You are already working or running a consortium of consultants like that. So when we look at platforms, for example, like Wiki Water Resource Council or other associations, but because this series is run through them, I'm using that as an example. But we are member of other council, other associations as well. I would like to know from you the role of associations or platforms. How does it help, particularly women in water, let's say at this moment, through your other council and associations? Where do we see its importance, and why are many women unable to look at it as an important way to network or, get hands-on or get work or, get noticed? Because one of the things which I realized from my research on women in leadership and water particularly is that women have been often not desiring or not really looking at it as an important aspect to be in the platform or to be a noticeable person, which I think is extremely important in leadership, that people have to know you. So what is your experience of being in so many associations and councils since you have started working, please?
Yeah. Thanks, Mansi, for asking that question. Well, there are multiple platforms like that. Niti
Yes.
Aayog has, like last year, they have been having women leadership platforms, women entrepreneurs. I was thankfully one of them who got selected. IIM Bangalore has, other IIMs also have this kind of platform. Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, it has. Now we have a platform on financial growth. So
Yes.
finance, as I mentioned, is important, and many of the women are still in dark to understand that. Whatever the CSAs, there are multiple platforms for like that. And women in water is a very rare platform which you have put together, Mansi, and congratulations and kudos to you for that.
Thank you so much.
It's going so good, and the programs which we have had in the past, which I have personally attended and virtually attended, they're all wonderful. And women's position when it comes to water is unquestionable, because we are the water users, primary users, in the sense, I don't say men don't use water, but women particularly have the responsibility at home of collecting, storing, safe handling of water in urban as well as rural places, because rural, they used to fetch water thanks to Jal Jeevan Mission, that is substantially reduced. I can't say it is eliminated, it's still there. So women are more or less custodians of water, and their views as users, their views as leaders of the community, their views as their role as coordinators in the community, and their role as escalators is very important. I bring to your knowledge this Safe Water Network, which is based in Gurgaon and which is a US-based NGO. So when I visited some of their ATM facilities in Uttar Pradesh, the border actually, so I saw the cans were all having small mouths. So I asked them, why do you, and a big handle. So they said it is because we deliberately make it like that, because traditionally it's women who has been carrying water and girls have not been going to school. So we made it like that so that it can be tied to a scooter or tied to a bicycle, and typically boys and men, they bring that. So that in order to transfer that role from women to men, we made it like that. We subsidized water still, but we thought we are subsidizing water, but we are empowering women and giving them some free time for doing something more productive. Yeah. So this is just one example. Another example is Kurukshetra, where we were doing some work on water sanitation, and we would interact with families. And we learned that women had very, very major role in eliminating sanitation from this district like Kurukshetra and others. And women were the one who empowered. They were going around in the early mornings to see that there was no open defecation. They would go in the evenings to see that there was no open defecation. And that, very interestingly, when we went back second time, open defecation had reduced quite a lot, but alcoholism also reduced. And we were like quite strange to understand that they said these women who would go in the evenings with a whistle, they would blow whistle and all the other women would come. If there was an alcoholic abusing his spouse or somebody in the family, then they would all gather and beat him up. So with that, the alcoholism also reduced. So it goes parallel. No, they all like
Interesting.
developmental efforts. They have multiple ripple effects. Yes.
Interesting. You remind me of this Gulabi gang and now Green gang in UP. So these are important platforms as we are talking about. Yeah, interesting examples, huh, Girija? And I have to really reach out to these girls now to see what they are doing, because we have to also get them on board into these kind of conversations,
Yes.
and we are not limited to doing English conversations, so we can always go for regional and bilingual conversations.
Yes.
That brings me to questions specifically focused on Water Resource Council of the Wiki, because as you rightly mentioned, it is very, I will say, atypical kind of council. There are not many women in Water Resource Council. And that is why probably CV World Water Week also, gave us kudos and are supporting for our first panel discussion in the World Water Week. Because there are not many Water Resource Council made for women. So let's say when we talk about Wiki Water Resource Council, which is actually 3 years old, but now it's only 1 year when we are really engaging, extensively. When I have taken over, I need to understand from you as a part of National Council member also, but as, let's say, a General Council member, a young or a mid-career person, what will be the expectation of a council member from these kind of platforms? Because we are struggling to increase the council, despite the fact that people like us, we know the importance of being in the council, So what do you think people like younger generation or, who are very busy making their career expect from councils? Do they expect direct benefits, or what kind of thing they expect? Why don't they see long-term impact of being a council member? Or what is your take on that?
I feel we, as senior members of the council, can make it more attractive. Yeah,
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, they want to know what is in it for me.
Yes, absolutely. So what is in it we can offer?
Yes.
What is their expectation? I need to understand that.
So for some, the expectation is, as you rightly mentioned, work towards environment. But that may be the urban class who are better off. But for the ones who are actually very good, who are in the small places, they really need some support, financial support, if we are able to do that. Yeah.
So or help them facilitate through the
even if it is a small one, we can definitely do. I was telling you about the Kurukshetra example. So
yes.
One of the girls was very meritorious in studies, and she didn't know how to go to the college, because the college was some 10 kilometers away from her home, and her mother said, "You are a big girl, you cannot." So we said, we can provide, why don't you buy a cycle and give her? Then her mother said, we don't have that much of resources and we don't want girls to go like that. Then I ended up talking to the district magistrate that time. She helped get cycle for not just one, because it's not one girl who goes, if they go in a group. So they asked them to apply. Some 7 or 8 girls got bicycle under that some scheme. I don't recall which one. And they all went to school. Later, after 3-4 years, again, I went to the same village and checked about that girl. She said she was working in Accenture in Gurgaon.
Wow.
What more than that? Yeah. So that small 10-kilometer gap, if we are able to fill, she is out of that loop. She's out of that loop. So if we can bring that small incentive, be it a bicycle or be it something small, it can transform. And if the girl gets transformed, the village, good part of the village get inspired and also transformed.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So these are small things. We can't exactly put pen down, but then if we go and meet and talk to these children, we realize what are the issues. So why one bicycle doesn't, because we know practically one girl is not going alone. If we can take a survey and understand how many girls need it and how many actually eligible, and as an the other members of the family ride the bicycle and the girl still sits at home without going to college, because getting a bus to this place is not possible. So small thing, minimum we can do is get her a bicycle. Yeah. And we also gave her some pep talks, like that time Kalpana Chawla and all that, that really worked out in favor. And she said, yeah, I said, if Kalpana Chawla can go from here to space and you guys can't go from here to 10 kilometers, school, kya kar rahe ho tum log? Haryana ki ladki log hai and all that. So it really worked.
No, I think you made a very important and subtle point here, which I think as a Wiki Water Resource Council, particularly the National Council members, we have to now start working on more formalizing it. We can start even thinking about, first of all, creating an inventory, getting researchers to create this inventory. Where are these bright-minded girls who need some support, who need some, not only financial support, but even moral support, even professional support? What is the right place for them to join, or even just giving a mentorship? So let's say most of the Wiki women becomes mentor for one girl child or whatever, 2 girl child, but we need a separate section of people who can start doing inventory for it. So that's one part. And maybe we can even think of floating fellowships. General fellowship, people can apply for the fellowship to the council, and then we can offer some fellowship. So for that, we will require to develop corpus and all. So that's one part. But how will we make people join the platform, seeing that it has a long-term impact or benefit for them? I mean, this is one example where you talk about giving them direct benefit. But how do people look at platforms in general in their life, or associations? See, we are seasoned people now after decades of experience. So we know the importance of platforms and associations. How can we make them realize the importance, even if they don't get a direct benefit in first 2 years, let's say?
Yeah. We as examples and motivators, that will be very important aspect. And fellowships, especially typically they are in the English language or maximum Hindi. It has to reach out to the public. It has to reach out in the vernacular language.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And now with WhatsApp and others, it's not so difficult to reach out to percolate. Yeah.
Yes.
If there is only thing is we'll have to make it, they make them understand this is genuine, because there are so many fraud stuffs also existing. So we have to ring fence ourselves against that, because there will be a trust issue initially.
Yes.
For that, we have enough girls, motivators, and like Teach for India, if you remember Teach for India.
Yes, I also volunteered for many years.
Yes. So that's an excellent platform. So something similar to that model would really
collaborate with them.
Yeah, exactly. That will really do wonders. And India International Center also has some of these groups. Yeah. Yes. And many philanthropists are interested to donate. So if you are making a trust where you feel we can give scholarships, last year we gave scholarship from our organization. We gave scholarship to 7 girls, and some cash awards and some other benefits like. So those girls are very motivated. And I am also volunteering in a school which is very close by, which is called NEEV. It's a school for underprivileged. So there sometimes I go and volunteer twice or thrice in a year. And my college, IIT Dhanbad, reached out to me saying we need students who are interested in technology, this thing, artificial intelligence. So I checked with them. They were very interested. So I asked them to enroll. There was a very minimum fees. I told you, okay, we will bear some part of it, but you have to bear at least 250 rupees. It was 1,000. So I said, we will bear 750. You bear 250. If we give it free, of course, they will not sustain that program. So I wanted them to put that much of money anybody can put. So, and then they enrolled, and they did. It was like May and June, 2 months. They had rigorous course. After that, there was a national competition. 2 students won that national competition. They got 50,000 rupees as reward.
Nice.
And they also got the mentorship, that both 2 boys. Absolutely. They also got mentorship from IIT students who are seniors, who also have some program in their IIT that they have to mentor students. So mentoring for this exam, the entrance examination. So there are many connects, and we as people in this sector can all make these connections and help them. Yeah. That is, they may not reach out to us, but we will have to reach out.
We have to reach out to them.
We have to reach out to them.
Well put point, because this has been discussed a few times with the previous speakers in the Monday Munching, where it is important that we actually reach out to people and talk about being women in the water sector is not like a Hawa. You
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be, and we can do good. And now we have good role models, and we can showcase them. We are also planning to come up with a book after having these conversations with all of you. So definitely there will be more. So once the book is ready, I'm actually keen to go out to schools and colleges and show them the book. Here are the women you can look up to and all. But that brings me to a question to you as Girija, because you have joined consciously this platform as Key Water Resource Council. So maybe I would also like to know your expectation from this kind of council. And I mean, are we living up to that? Or how can we improve and make it really worth you?
Mansi, Vicky is doing a great job. Really. I'm not just saying because you are here, but generally.
On the screen. So yes.
Yeah, these are important platforms, and you very religiously do this. Wednesday's water, Friday's water, Monday munching. So many platforms. You bring the best of minds from all over the world, not just India. Yeah. So we need to make sure that these young students, girls, they are part of it. They are more streamlined into it. They take more ownership. I'm seeing many young students from TIS, etc., are very active in this, but not all. So maybe we can provide that encouragement, motivation to them, and show them this. There is so much more they can do. Yeah. So that efficiency enhancement could also motivate them and help them make a great career. Yeah, in water sector.
I think even I'm also thinking that if we can really, also most of us in the National Council, we can actually start going to school and start talking about being the council, and also importance of being women in the water sector, why we need more women professionals in the water sector. We can start promoting that in this manner as well.
Yes.
So if I see it that way, and I know you are extremely busy person, I am greedy to now ask you my pre-final question. And that is, how do you see that you can give us a little bit more time? I know you are already really very supportive of whatever I'm doing and also whatever the council is doing. But where are your interest areas where you think that you can really do a little bit more than today until now, and really make this council be a little bit more efficient and more interactive to the society? So that we can start charting things, Girija will do this for the council and someone else will do this for the council. Because I think by 50 interactions and after reaching 100 women at least, I'm thinking to start thinking a little bit more creative, what else can we do? But right now it's a building phase for the council,
Probably I'll put it the other way, Mansi, you tell me what I can do. So I will.
That empowers me to ask you, ye karna hai.
You tell me what I can do. I have volunteered to take the samples to
Bhuvneshwar
and do it. And we have negotiated the price, and I'll be happy to carry them. The date is yet to get fixed. So once it is fixed, I'll be happy to take it and take it forward.
But my question is more on the leadership side, because it is our responsibility now to really get, at least first of all, get more women in the water sector. Then our next responsibility is to get more women leadership in the water sector. So my question was from that angle. But yes, you have been always supportive. I mean, no denial on that. Not because on this platform, but otherwise also. I know at the background, we are talking constantly.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Yeah, I'm there for anything, because the sector is so vast, from if you need capacity building, mentorship, to resources, human resources, whatever. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah,
and you had sent also, I know from Key Water Resource Council workshop, Nathaniel was there.
When we were struggling with the financial issues with CV water, then I said, I had done that in the past. In 2019, we were like UNICEF, USAID, and Mugama Safe Water Network. We had jointly organized.
Yeah, you had offered that support.
Women in water. Yeah, women in water, breaking barriers. That was women from water carriers to waterpreneurs. So that was the theme that year. So yeah, I had offered my
you had offered the full support also, but we got lucky that CV already made it easy for us.
If not full part, for sure, I was telling you, we
You had
can offer that
already.
part
Yes, you had
support,
offered
because I know how much the cost is coming to.
Yes.
Because it was gold standard, and gold standard had some specifications, and the cost which substantially reduces.
Yes.
So yeah. Sometimes, it's more important to get there rather than the resources.
Absolutely.
Even if I have to
Absolutely.
give money
And
from
I'm
my
reaching out to you people without any embarrassment. I will be very honest on this. कुछ भी जरूरत पड़ता है, I just reach out to you people कि ये करना है, ये जरूरत है, चलो करते हैं. And very supportive, most of you, all of you, and some people are very young, so they are still trying to understand what's going on here. But then it's our role to keep them engaged here.
Surely.
Yeah?
Surely.
So my last question to you is more on the younger generation directed, and that is on some precise message for the younger generation on the water sector.
Mansi, your voice had suddenly become a bit feeble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do you hear me now?
Yes, I do.
So my last question is basically to the younger generation from you. I'm looking for some motivational lines for the younger generation on two major aspects. One is that they should join water sector as professionals, because future is about water sector. No water, no work, and no one is there. So how can we encourage people to join the water sector? And this is more gender neutral question. And the second part of your motivational points to younger generation is on how do we engender water sector? Basically, how can we really bring that gender neutrality in the water sector? What they should be doing on what kind of things are required in the society? Over to you. Two questions in one question.
Yes. If your purpose in life, your passion and your profession, they coincide, nothing can stop you.
Yes.
And these girls should have that purpose, that professionalism, and that passion, purpose, and professionalism together. They will. And they need to have perseverance. This is the fourth P.
Yes.
Because many times, many of us, we have also in the past have had that. You don't persevere something. And there's a thin line between the success and failure. Yeah.
Yes.
You never know when you touch and cross that line. You persevere, somewhere down the line, you will get it. You will get it. Yes.
Lage raho.
Lage raho. Yes. It's the intent with which and the passion with which you work towards it. Yeah. And water sector is very attractive. I think everybody understands that, the importance, and we have all seen the passion with which the youngsters, many of the youngsters, I don't say all, but then, there is huge potential there. It may not be as lucrative as a career in AI and computers and all that, but then those who are waiting for a very lucrative career, they also come back to this development career,
Yes.
Yeah?
When they get the purpose ko question.
Yeah. It's like the monk who sold his Ferrari.
Yes.
That. Yeah. And then they realize, oh God, what was I doing all this while? Why didn't you?
So better start pehle se hi.
Yes. So that's about it. Yeah, the purpose, if it is defined, you make your money and come back. Development sector is waiting with open arms to have you back. And I have seen many stalwarts in water sector who have reverted back from all this.
Very few go from development sector to other sectors.
Yes. Yeah.
So how do we engender the sector? How do we make it more enabling environment for girls and women?
Yeah. For that, we need to have them motivated to take this as a career. And as you rightly mentioned during our conversation, that we should reach out to schools and colleges. We should have our different forums. Like there are so many forums here. Nathaniel is here. He is also leading one of the forum, which is 1 million leaders of Asia. So so he is the one who has been chosen from India to lead it. So excellent group, very motivated, huge interest in the area, and also doing with purpose, doing with passion, and going beyond time. So there's so much of commitment in this, and the proposals are excellent proposals. They have excellent ideas. Young generation has so much of idea. We need to harness that. That is
Yes.
our responsibility, Mansi. People who are on the other side of the table, it's our responsibility to harness these ideas and scale it up. Let them know that they have so much of potential which can deliver on the field.
So maybe that way, anyway, if more and more people join, we will start getting more girls into the sector, because actually in academics, the number is still gender neutral.
Yes.
It's only that it gets reduced in the profession
Yeah.
when people start deviating, or many women even stop working, and that's where our role also comes into picture.
We need to make that transition. When women stop working and come back, that should be a very enabling environment for them.
I think organizations and even government policies have to be really, encouraging and protecting.
Yes.
It's not that if woman has left her work for 3-4 years, she forgot everything. Probably she will come back more resilient.
More resilient.
Yes.
It is rebound. She will bounce back.
And she's more dedicated. Yes. She has that fire in her.
She has the fire. Which probably she didn't have in the past.
Little bit, holding the finger and just walking along to that girl, you can do it.
Yes.
And I think that's important, extreme. And maybe we can also start working as a council, how we can really propose to the ministry or the government that what kind of tools are required in organization where women can be really encouraged like that. Yes. So that brings me to, all my questions are done, and I'm sure you have enjoyed. But if you have any question for me, this is the time you can ask me. Or
thanks, Mansi. It's always a pleasure. I know you are a call away, so
yes.
We have been interacting quite a lot, and we will keep interacting. And if there is anything which you feel I can do as a person and my organization can do as an organization, do reach out.
Yeah, thank you so much, Girija. I mean, when talking to you, almost felt like you were saying, just be like water, keep flowing. You mentioned about perseverance, and the way you have conducted your career, you almost reflect like I am water. So you are the water, and of course, in all of us, we have water. And we also know that the water that flows in you also flows in me and in others as well. Absolutely. So may you remain an inspiration to me as well as many women and others in the society. I'm really grateful to have learned about your water endeavors and about you as a person, which is rare conversation because we are often talking about work. And may you continue your water activities and do keep us posted about it. And at this point, we can call it off our meeting today. And I look forward to coming Mondays to learn more about more women for water. And we will continue this Monday Munching and Musing on every Monday at 5 p.m. And we can check our regular social media platforms where we really keep posting what are these women doing every now and then. So please take care of yourself, Girija, and thank you for attending all the participants, and see you soon.
Thank you so much, Mansi. Pleasure talking to you and reflecting on the old memories. Thank you.
Yes, that's the whole idea. It's very refreshing. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Take care.
And thanks, Nathaniel, and thanks, Rajgopal, for attending. And I see some people are already there. Huh? Quite a lot of people, by the way. 13 people are live watching. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the conversation, guys.
Yeah, really enjoyed, and most of them are very relevant.
You see the other side of Girija, or probably you just see that she's been repeating it to all of you all the time.
No, I agree with Dr. Girija. Whatever she said, I have myself been practicing. So I really enjoyed the discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, all of you guys, and please take care. I will close the meeting now. Okay.
Thanks. Thanks,
Thank
Mansi.
you.
Take care, you too. Bye-bye.